everybody. Today I'm going to be starting a new beginner chapter book. It's called Lulu and the Brontosaurus by Judith, I think it's Viorst. The chapters are really short in this book, so I'm probably going to read to chapter 5 or 6 today. It's a really fun one, so I can't wait to share it with you guys. The introduction says, okay, all right, you don't have to tell me. I know that people and dinosaurs have never lived on Earth at the same time. And I know that dinosaurs aren't living now. I even also know that paleontologists, the folks who study dinosaurs, decided that a dinosaur was once called a Brontosaurus. A very nice name. Shouldn't be called Brontosaurus anymore, and changed it to a Patasaurus, which is kind of an ugly name. But since I'm the person writing this story, I get to choose what I write, and I'm writing about a girl and a Brontosaurus, Brontosaurus. So, if you don't want to read this book, you can close it up right now. You won't hurt my feelings, and if you still want to read, here it goes. So in your guys' case, you could stop the video now if you don't want to hear about a Brontosaurus, but I think it's going to be really good. Chapter 1. There was once a girl named Lulu, and she was in pain. She wasn't a pain in the elbow. She wasn't a pain in the knee. She wasn't a pain, a very big pain, in the B-U-T-T. Now, Lulu was an only child, and her mom and her dad gave her everything she wanted. And guess what? Lulu wanted everything. Tons of candy, tons of toys, tons of watching tons of cartoons on TV, and if her mom and dad ever said, and they hardly ever said it, "Sorry, darling, we think you've had enough," Lulu would screech till the light bulbs burst and throw herself down on the floor, then she would kick her heels and wave her hands. And pretty soon, her mom and dad would say, well, just this once, and let her have whatever she wanted. Here's a picture of Lulu. Chapter 2. 2 weeks before Lulu's birthday, she announced to her mom and dad that she wanted a Brontosaurus for her birthday present. What did she say? What? A Brontosaurus? Yes, she wanted a Brontosaurus for a pet. At first, Lulu's mom and dad just thought she was making a little joke. And then they saw, oh, the horrors, that she was serious. They patiently explained that a Brontosaurus is quite an enormous dinosaur who lives in forests, not in people's houses. Is that where a Brontosaurus would live? In a forest? I'm afraid I'm not absolutely sure, but since I'm the person writing this story, I'm putting this Brontosaurus in a forest along with a lot of other wild beasts that I'm absolutely sure did not live on Earth when dinosaurs were there. Anyway, Lulu's mom and her dad continued explaining to her, although a Brontosaurus is into eating plants, not animals, and although it is cute, it is much too huge and too wild to be a good pet. A dog, a cat, a goldfish, a bird, a gerbil, a guinea pig, okay. But a Brontosaurus? Definitely no. Another picture of the Brontosaurus. And then all the other animals they offer. Chapter 3. No? Her mom and dad were telling Lulu no? Lulu wasn't used to hearing no. And she really hated hearing no. To show how much she hated it, she screeched and screeched and screeched till all the light bulbs in the living room burst. I want a Brontosaurus as a birthday present, she said in between screeches. I want a Brontosaurus for a pet. Well, maybe we could get you a nice pet rabbit, said her mom. Or even, said her dad, a nice pet rat. No, screeched Lulu. I want a Brontosaurus for a pet. Then she threw herself down on the floor and kicked her heels and waved her arms and screeched some more. Here's her throwing a fit. Look, she's on the floor screeching. No! Chapter 4. 4 days, 8 nights, 10 days, 12 days passed. Lulu kept saying, "I want a Brontosaurus." Her mom and her dad just kept saying no. Lulu kept screeching and throwing herself on the floor and kicking her heels and waving her arms. Lulu's mom and her dad kept saying no, until finally, on the 13th day, the day before Lulu's birthday, right after lunch, Lulu said to her mom and dad, "Okay then, foo on you. If you aren't going to get me a Brontosaurus, I'm going out and I'm going to get one for myself." Lulu packed a small suitcase and said goodbye to her mom and her dad and walked out the door. And they let her go, partly because they thought she'd change her mind and come running back home in about 2 minutes, and partly because it was nice not to have her screeching and kicking and waving and being in pain. "Let's have a cup of tea and a couple of cookies," Lulu's mom said to her dad. "Excellent idea," said her dad. So they went into the kitchen and started munching on some cookies and sipping tea. Pretty soon they'd forgotten all about Lulu. Oh no. All right, chapter 5. Last one we'll probably do today. But Lulu hadn't forgotten that she was going to get herself a Brontosaurus. And luckily for Lulu, there was a great big forest not too far from her house. The animals in that forest have never bothered anybody, because nobody had ever bothered them. But watch out, creatures! Here comes Lulu trudging through the forest, swinging her small suitcase back and forth, and in a quite loud voice that was sure to wake the napping animals up, singing this song. I'm gonna get a Brontosaurus for a pet. I'm gonna get a Brontosaurus for a pet. There's her singing her song. A little bit goofy if you ask me. The forest that Lulu was trudging through was overgrown with trees, whose branches scratched her face and whose roots she tripped over. But Lulu hardly noticed because she was thinking just one thought, and you know what that was. So on she went, swinging her suitcase and singing her song too loud and annoying all the creatures in the forest, and being the same big pain out there that she was back home in her house until... oh man. Slithering down from the branch of a tree came a long, fat, brown, black snake who had been peacefully snoozing till Lulu woke him up. Sleepy and grumping and hissing in an exceedingly nasty hiss, he wrapped himself around Lulu, around and around, tighter and tighter, and told her she'd be really sorry that she had awakened him. "I'm going to squeeze you," he said. Okay, so snakes don't talk, but in this book they do. And Lulu said, "Not if I squeeze you harder." So Lulu squeezed the snake hard, and the snake yelled, "Ow!" and quickly unwrapped himself from Lulu, and Lulu, whipping from the snake, she squeezed her hands and went on trudging deeper into the forest. And then we are going to start chapter 6 next time. We're going to get to see a little bit more and read a little bit more about Lulu's adventure, and I'm really excited. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Can you think of any times at home where you've maybe acted a little bit like Lulu with some screeching and you were mad because mom and dad wouldn't give you what you want? I'm sure that all of you could. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.